Hello, everybody. It's time for another episode of Grant Draws. Tonight we have Laurie Calcaterra. Is that how you pronounce it?
Mhm. Calcaterra.
I think
Yep.
I usually try to check, but before the show, but I think it slipped my mind tonight.
Gold
Um,
star. You got it right on the first try.
cool. As always, we are sponsored by the Independent Creator Directory. Do you know what that is?
No. Oh, yes, I do because I've talked to Dawn about it. Dawn sent me the link. Yes. My
Oh,
friend.
okay. So you're friends with Dawn. Cool.
Yeah, Dawn Doulas. She's a good friend.
Yeah,
Love you, Dawn.
she's in the chat tonight.
Mhm.
If you don't mind me going through the chat real quick, we'll hit up your Kickstarter in just a moment.
Of course.
Dan is saying good evening. Good evening, Dan. Trey is also saying good evening. Foxy and Carl both saying hi. Carl is saying good job on that other project. Oh, he's being cryptic. We don't know what that other project is. They could be taking over the world. Lewis Bright Raven is saying his infamous Nevermore. Donna's saying hey all again. And don't forget to like and share. That sounds like a good plan to me. Trey is saying thanks for the help, Carl. So she's keeping it vague as well. Um, Dan is saying that he's hoping that he managed to STFU, shut the fuck up, a few times. In
Okay,
BTC.
so now I know I can swear on the show. Excellent.
Yeah, I don't know what BTC stands for.
By the in I don't know. BTC. No, I don't know.
Oh, it's behind the code. That's a show that's on earlier in the day.
Gotcha.
Trey saying hi to Raven. Cara is saying, "Hey, Lewis, long time no see." Oh yeah, Lewis was a guest on my show before. Uh, Good evening, everyone. Oh, so just for reference, I asked you if you knew what the Independent Creator Directory is, but not everybody in the chat might. The
Yeah.
Independent Creator Directory is kind of like the Internet Movie Database, but for independent creators. So, yeah, if you're a writer, if you're a comic book creator, if you're a role playing game creator, whatever type of creator you are, hit Joe up about being a member of that. And Trey is saying that Dan was a great guest. Everybody's saying Dan was a great guest. There's your buddy Don.
Hi. Hi, buddy.
Don has lots of friends that I don't know about.
Shh, we're a secret. We're the best kept secret out there. Just kidding. You knew me.
And Don is agreeing that Dan was a good guest. And Don is saying
Hello.
hi to the both of us.
Hello.
A few people are saying hi to both of us. And Don is saying that she got some of Laurie's goodies already. I was the brightest undead person.
She was the one in the very colorful blanket. We'll have to explain that later.
Sarah is saying that she is listening while arting. That's cool. I didn't know you did art, Sarah. So uh, it's awesome that you have a hobby like that. I heard crying in the hall. Strips had forced themselves into Calvin's box. I believe he's talking about cats.
Cats. I'm assuming cats.
And Joe is saying that he is a good friend and great co-host. I couldn't do my streams without her. Carl's
Hello.
also saying hi to both of us.
Behind the code.
Dawn is confirming that behind the code is what she was talking about. So Dr. Dulles, this is Dawn's father.
Oh, hey. Hello.
I don't know if you've met him before.
No.
And Dan is confirming that he's talking about Dawn's posse. Oh boy. And he said, I hope I spelled that correctly. Yeah, that could get awkward. And everybody's saying hi to Dale. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Path of the Pale Rider. So this is issues 1 through 6, right?
Yeah, we're on issue 6. Um, it's it's always been a crazy story, but we're in that middle part of the first arc where like everything goes wrong and it just gets really exciting. And so I've always talked about how when we started this, I've been really looking forward to like this part of the arc. So it's a great time to jump on board because you get to see the inner workings of Laurie's crazy brain. So, I don't know if everybody knows me here, so I should probably
Well, by the end of the show, they'll know you, right?
This is true.
So
I was just
is this a 6-part storyline or
12 parts.
12 part? Oh,
Parts,
wow.
yeah. So when I originally wrote this story, I was I was choreographing fight scenes. I was managing a fight team for a production company in Detroit, and, I had written this script in as a screenplay. It's a full-length movie.
Okay.
So, I took it's act 1, act 2, act 3 of a movie, and each act is 4 issues. And so it's a big one, but it needs to be big for all the crazy stuff that happens. Um, it's nothing like you've seen before. So, yeah.
Yeah, so, uh, I mean, we were talking about this a little bit. I'm intrigued by the series because I
Mhm.
like, supernatural westerns.
Yes.
Do you wanna give, like, the pitch a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, and so if you guys that are watching are not familiar with Path of the Pale Rider, if you like things like Fallout, Book of Eli, spaghetti westerns, Walking Dead with a little sprinkle of Cocaine Bear on top, that's how we roll. It's a world where death has been broken. And so, I mean, like zombie genre is one thing, but this is different. We broke death. So you're you stuck in your decaying body, so you have your own personality. You're not craving flesh. You're not eating brains, but you are actively rotting. And so as your brain rots, you lose your memories. You could get violent. You could be detached or vegetative. It hits everybody differently. And the worst part of it is it's not just people, it's animals, insects, and fish as well. Death is broken. There is no bullet to the head. There is no escape. You are stuck. We all rot together. And so that's how we kind of get to the West. It's like things have devolved back to the Wild West, where we are in the story. We're about 10 years into that kind of apocalypse. And we're following this cowboy who's like the last guy still looking for the answer of why did the dead no longer die. You get zombie ethics, you get conspiracy theories, you get some very cinematic moments, lots of action. It's I have crazy QR codes and I have this whole fan interactive experience built into the story. So it's its thing. And yes, John, chicken nuggets, which is another it's another story. So
Okay, yeah, so I'll run through everybody saying hi to Dale and to Dan. Uh,
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad, yeah. And then Donna
Chicken
saying
nuggets.
chicken nuggets. I'm guessing that's an inside story, or is that something from
Yeah,
the
okay.
book?
So I come from a production company. I do these like side quest short films. One of the Kickstarter videos. Wait, let me back up. So one of the short films, I was a reporter and I interviewed all the fans so they could tell me what they think broke death. And people were allowed to say whatever they wanted. And so a lot of people said like food, a lot of people said like vaccines and GMOs, and other people said crazy things like it's pygmies in the forest in their back, all sorts of crazy stuff. So by the end of that short film, me giving a talk as a reporter, I get run over by a car. It's pretty funny. It looks legit. Again, I was choreographing fight scenes, so if you watch it, you will see me get run over by a car. And so one of my Kickstarter films, I played that character talking to myself. So I set up a green screen and I was Laurie Calcaterra telling people about the Kickstarter. And then this undead reporter was there just being chaotic. And her name is Ellie Brock. And at the very end, she had like lost an eye and she's just being random. And I asked her, I said, do you have anything else that you want to say? And she just looks at the camera and goes, chicken nuggets. And so, Don and several other people scream chicken nuggets in the chat at this point. And
That
consequences.
reminds me, I have one I have one trailer where, the character in it says something about, like, uh, my character is an homage to this. And then he pauses and he goes, "Wait a minute, I'm an homage? I better not find out that's an insult." So now every time I'm on something like Don or Carl or some of these guys, they always say, "Homage. It's
Yep,
an homage."
that's what happens. We actually have
Yeah.
chicken nugget related merchandise for the Pale Rider now. We have stickers, dinosaur chicken nuggets. So, homage! You're gonna have
Yeah, so that
homage
was the
related
exact
merch.
quote. I forgot it. It was homage. There's that word again,
Yep, that's funny. It's funny how
and I'll
things
never
happen
live
like
that
that.
down. So, like
Yeah.
I said, I'm gonna pledge for the digital version
Woohoo!
because I'm in.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, I like supernatural westerns. Um,
Yeah.
I think we talked
Yeah.
before.
We've
I
been on
really
panel
like.
shows together. Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, I really liked Jonah Hex,
Mhm.
which was a supernatural western um, from the 90s. I didn't like the movie, but I liked the comic book.
Thank you. I was like, "Do I have to ask?"
No, um,
Yay.
the
Thank
movie
you.
was a very whitewashed version of the
Yeah,
story.
but, it's what you find in Hollywood. They take all the good stuff out, and they just kinda it's watered down, right?
Yeah, well, they did do an animated movie that was
Oh, that's
directed by
right.
Bruce Timm that was pretty good. It was straight to video, but it was good.
I was like, "I don't remember seeing that." Hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, those DC original animated movies are all great because they're all directed
Yeah.
by, or they're at least produced by Bruce Timm, which is the guy who did, like, the Batman, the animated series from the '90s.
Yeah, those were all good. Hush and was it Mask of the Phantasm, and,
Yeah.
like, those were all amazing.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to mention my
Oh,
Kickstarter
please
real quick.
do. Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming anybody who's watching my show already knows that I have a Kickstarter, but it's driving me nuts because I'm getting so freaking close. I'm getting so freaking close, and I'm a little over $100 away now. I still have about 2 weeks, so I'm not worried about it. If any of you guys liked the original Beowulf, this is a prequel slash sequel, meaning that it kind of cuts back and forth between the Middle Ages and yes, everybody's favorite character is
And
Mooney.
the cat. Yep.
He's like Beowulf's spirit guide,
Yeah. Isn't that
and
funny? Were
yeah,
you
I'm not that
intending him for
surprised.
did you anticipate that he was gonna be like that, or was it a surprise that he was everybody's favorite?
I wasn't super surprised. I mean, putting cats in comic books, it's kind of my two favorite things.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through the chat again kind of quickly. Someone sane is saying hi.
Hi.
Dale is saying hi. I don't know why he's sorry, but it's nice seeing you again, Dale. Don is saying
Gosh.
hi to someone.
Better not find out
Don
that's
is
an
saying,
insult.
yeah, Don is saying my famous quote. And then Joe Bachman says, I better not find out that's an insult.
It's it's coming. I'm
Oh, so
working
you
on
do
it.
modern day choose your own adventure?
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's in the add-ons if you guys are interested in if you like choose your own adventures. I like everything from my childhood. I think at some point we'll cycle through. I'm trying to get some scratch and sniff stickers out there with one of our stretch goals and um there's lots of good stuff to be had, but I do have a choose your own adventure book where you can put on the hat and the boots, walk around the apocalyptic west and you run bounties. You see how creative Laurie can kill you. It's a lot of different ways, but the great part is you just go back and you run it again, right? Until you make the right decisions. So it's fun stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fun stuff.
That,
You can get your face melted, you can find an undead bear. I think there's an undead tiger. There is a way where you can become undead and then continue in the book. And so there's a few different ways that you can go. It's good. It's good stuff. You will enjoy it.
So yeah, I would definitely be curious about that. Choose your own adventures were always like my
Yeah.
favorite when I was a kid.
And I'm writing the second one, Dawn. I'm about halfway through. So it was one of
Cool.
those like I once you put it down though, it's hard to get back in. So I launched this thing and I went back and I was like, where the heck am I?
So I don't know if you want to answer this question. Are you allowed to just call a book "Choose Your Own Adventure"?
Mine is called Choose Your Own Path. You are not allowed to call it a choose your own adventure. That is copyright. Mine is choose your own path. And I mean,
Hey
like
Don,
people know what a choose your own adventure is, right? So that's what it's that style book, but it's choose your own path.
I think Don's trying to get you sued or something, calling it "Choose Your Own Adventure."
Well, people could call it whatever they want, but I mean, like when you get it, it says choose your own path. So I'm not getting sued.
So it looks like Dan is also a Jonah Hex fan.
Cool.
Um, he was saying that Jonah Hex can meet time travelers and understand what they are and why they are in his era and not. So I would, in particular, I would I would recommend the Jonah Hex miniseries from the '90s. It has really good art. Um, Tim Truman is the name of the artist, but
Nice.
yeah. Oh, so Sarah's asking me about how Diamond, the thing with Diamond is going. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are your comic books distributed by Diamond or
No.
you
We
don't
were
worry about
looking at Lunar and then everything kind of like so then I was like, "No, I'm done. I don't I wanted to wait because the writing was kinda on the wall what was happening with Diamond, so now it's just like, I wanna wait and see because everybody is, I think, gonna fight to fill that spot, and you remember when there was, like, Laserdisc and Blu-ray, and no one
Yeah,
wanted to buy any movies because we were waiting to see which one would come up on top?
yeah.
It's kinda where I'm at right now. I have an indie publisher, small press publisher in the UK that is distributing my books in the UK, so I'm in stores in Scotland and in the
Oh, that's
UK,
cool.
but
So
here in the US, it's just so crazy. I'm just like, I'll just wait.
do you get it printed in Scotland and
Mhm.
then
Yep.
oh, okay, cool. That
Yeah,
saves you a lot.
those are the trade paperbacks. I self-distribute I self-publish the individual trades, or excuse me, the individual issues. The trade paperbacks are the ones that are being published in the UK. So the big books, he can push those into bookstores, which is cool. Yeah.
So to answer your question, Sarah, I was able to convince the representative that I deal with into paying me up front, which
Amazing.
is yeah. So um, which is good because Diamond owes a lot of my friends money, and they've already shipped those comic books, so they don't really have any lateral. Yeah, what do they call it? Collateral.
There's no
So
recourse. Like, how do you not when they're Chapter 11.
yeah, exactly.
They pay their
Which
biggest debtors first, and independent creators are probably low on that list.
exactly. I mean, if they owe a lot of people money, um, the little guys are going to be the last ones to get any money, right?
If there is any money left.
If there is, like, well, I mean, yeah, that's the other thing. So people are saying now that somebody might buy.
Is there a
Sorry, I'm
buyer?
looking for. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking for my cord. I have to plug it in, my computer in. Um, yeah,
I
so they're
didn't
saying now that somebody might buy Diamond. I don't
really.
know if that's going to
'Cause
happen or not, but
yeah, because last time I heard they were having trouble finding buyers because of the situation they got themselves into.
yeah, exactly.
So you can't look it up though. It says to find a buyer for a diamond, you can local jewelers. It's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes, you have 3 days. Well, it ends on Friday night, Dawn, so if you wanna go in and add something, you still have time, but I would say sooner than later, because all the add-ons stop once, the campaign's over. I have a few tiers, obviously, for the, late pledges, but I think all the add-ons are not available, so
Yeah, so far I haven't had too much luck with um,
Late pledge.
the late pledges. Have you?
This is the first time I'm using it. It had just started, like, the day after I l was the day before? It was the day before. So I had set up all my tiers one way, and they were like, "Oh, late pledges are enabled." And I think I monkeyed around with them and had a major disaster. So I launched it, and then, like, 25 of my tiers all disappeared. So I had,
Oh
like,
wow!
2 tiers on my campaign. People were like, "Lori, something is wrong." And I'm live. I'm on a launch
Oh
party, and I was
no!
like, "Can you guys talk amongst yourselves for a second?" And I had to go in and change a bunch of things. And so at
So
that point, I was just panicked trying to get the tiers up, and I think nothing had, late pledges turned on. So this time I think I did it right. They didn't disappear when I launched, so at least I checked that box. So
that's the worst feeling in the world. Like
oh,
especially if you're live, when you launch your
mhm.
campaign, you realize that there's a like you realize
Yeah.
live that there's a mistake on the Kickstarter.
Yeah. I think I had one add-on was on there twice, and then there was an add-on that was missing. So it's just like I had to go adjust things, but still my very first campaign, Grant, was messed up because of the early bird, where you have to set like a date, and that was 3 years ago. So it was different than it is now. Now it's just like you can say an early bird, start when I launch, end after 7 days, and it kinda does the math for you, but something was up with how I had set it up, and I was live launching my very first campaign, and it would not launch. Didn't know what to do. Was so panicked, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it, and I was getting all flustered. I had a publicist. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jeff Haas, but he was wonderful. I gave him edit. He went in there and fixed it, and then I took the edit away and then launched the sucker, and it went. But I was like, I don't know what to do.
Well, I know my first Kickstarter, I actually launched it early because the little button that you click to launch your campaign is I can't remember exactly what it says, but it's kind of ambiguous. Like I wasn't
Launch
sure
now.
if I I wasn't sure if it was the button that you click in order to get approval.
Right, or pre-launch link, because
Yeah.
there's all those steps. That's always my nightmare too, where I'm like, I accidentally launched my campaign. Oh, good.
And then like
What did you do?
I mean, fortunately that was back before I really had any pre-launch like followers. So I just like canceled the Kickstarter and like created a new one, but I had to go through all that work of launching a whole another
Building
like
everything
filling out
again.
every yeah, it was such a pain in the butt.
Boo. I know, and they make it a little bit easier now where you can copy and paste rewards, but you can't copy and paste add-ons,
Right.
and you can't copy and paste, like, your story page, so you gotta just put it all in.
Yeah, so Sarah's saying
You're
that it's
still
a
married
relief.
with 800 copies.
I'm sorry?
I was just laughing at this comment because 'cause we've all been there, like, just a stack of boxes of books, and you're like, "Hey, honey, don't mind this, giant stash of comic books. It's fine."
Yeah, I remember when my wife first found it. Like, so I order from China, so I have to
Yeah,
do like big orders in order to make it worth
yep.
it. And I'll never forget the look on my wife's face when I was like, "Yeah, they're sending 15 boxes." And she was like just like
Excuse
the
me?
look on her face, like, where are we gonna put so I ended up getting storage for it, but I don't know.
Ooh, I don't think I've ever gotten 15 boxes. I've been close, but not 15 big
Yeah,
boxes. Like when it
so
shows up on a pallet and they're like, "You got a do you have a
oh
loading
god.
dock?" And you're like, "Sir, this is a residence."
So I've never had that happen, but I'm sure like the UPS drivers hate us.
Yeah. They're like, "Nah." How many boxes?
Like 15.
Sarah. Sarah's
Um,
comment's great. "Please buy a
yeah,
book."
so oh, go ahead.
No, I was just reading it. It says, "Please buy a copy so my wife doesn't divorce me." Oh,
Exactly.
Grant.
Um, yeah, she was not thrilled with that. So, yeah, Sarah was saying laughing at the way it was said, not the situation.
Right, of course.
So apparently Dale went and watched the video you were talking about.
Yeah, it's funny, right? It looks legit. I look like I got hit by a car.
So did you have to get, like, a lot of, like, makeup and, like, did they have to do, like, prosthetics to make it look like you were in a car accident?
No, I mean, like, it's so quick where I'm a reporter and I'm talking and the car actually it's a truck, so it hits me and then it takes me out of the scene. So, but in the Kickstarter video, yeah, I did some makeup, I did some wounds, it was green, and then I did a gag where my eyeball fell out and bounced away and then
Also,
got just
it
got
gets a little gross.
I mean, I'm silly. And I mean, I have a weird sense of humor, I guess. I think it's funny. So I came back on screen and like my head was all bandaged, and that's when I was screaming like consequences at people. It's funny. It's funny. I mean, like I'm gonna have to bring her back at some point. She might just be a skeleton. It would be hilarious because it's
Oh, so
time has
this is not
passed.
are you
Huh?
you're gonna write like, this character into the comic book?
She's not in the comic book. I'm talking about like, because I switch up my Kickstarter video style. Sometimes it'll be comics with music. I like to do green screen. I like to bring in characters. I do some podcasting, and one of the podcasts I do is every other Friday. It's called Killer Karen. I put on a blonde wig and I take on the personality of a Karen who hates all things comics, and I interview indie creators, and it is a thing. So Karen could probably show up in one of those videos, but
Oh, that's
Ellie's a
cool.
f Ellie's a fan favorite, so she'll have to come back at some point, but it's been a while, so she's gotta have some decomposition going on. She's been in 2 videos, Ellie.
So that's
Mhm.
cool that you have, like, characters
Yeah.
that and you do so you're getting a little bit, more creative with YouTube
Yeah.
shows than most people. I know I'm gonna be on one of your shows.
I think you're scheduled to be on The Brew, which is the normal one.
Okay.
Where
Um
you get me, just me. But that's the one that's hard to get on.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, that's I'm currently booked out to, I wanna say the last week of July on that show.
Well, according to
So,
this, I'm gonna be on one of your shows on
yeah, it's a
Tuesday
brew.
morning.
Well, then it's definitely the brew.
Okay.
Let's go look. Do, 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 do. Oh, on March the 4th. It's coming
Right.
right up, yeah. So you're in a week. Perfect.
Perfect.
You'll still be live and all that good stuff. Yes, so you'll get normal Laurie, you won't get killer Karen. It's, that one you have to come prepared. I always tell people, I'm like, "Are you sure?" And if you are sure, then please go watch at least 1 episode, maybe 2, they're short, just to understand what you're getting yourself into, because you kinda have to battle Karen in order to talk about your project, because she doesn't care, and she doesn't like comics. So
Well, like I said, I mean, you're
aw.
getting creative with it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's I've had some really great shows, like, people come on and they promote their stuff, but we have, like, we had a drinking contest, it was, Chad Perkins came on as his character and drank Karen under the table while he was talking about his project, and, like, um, DM Ray was on, Ray Jameson, and he's Canadian, so he did, like, all the Canadian tropes. We've had people, like, flirt with Karen, we've had people be aggressive with Karen, people have made friends with Karen over murder. I mean, it's just silly, and it's something different, so we have fun with it. You're
So
welcome
is
to come
this
on that show if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, this sounds fun. If I was
Oh
gonna
my
come
god.
on this show, I would want, like, an angle.
Yeah,
Like, I wouldn't wanna just be myself on it.
right. I'm always telling people, like, the more you bring to it, the funnier it is. Because I might think of something like, Von Coleman was on, and he's blonde, and, of course, Karen wears a blonde wig, so she claimed him as family. He was not prepared. And then Karen proceeded to tell, like, all these embarrassing stories that, of course, I'm making up about Vaughn in his childhood, and I started calling him Bon Bon, and, like, now he calls me Aunt Karen, like, it's just weird, but it's just all in good fun. It's fun.
All right, so
Yes, Sarah.
Dawn is saying that she knows what she needs, but she might need a special tier for it.
Okay, you
Well, I
tell
mean,
me.
check out the add-ons, Dawn.
And I do that for people too. So if you like, Dawn just wanted the choose your own adventure book, and I put that
Uh,
together for her. You know what I mean? And so if you want something specific and I don't have it put together with my tiers and my just let me know what you want. I did that for a couple Canadian backers as well. I went and weighed their stuff to make sure I knew exactly how much the shipping was because it's so expensive right now, and
oh
just told
god.
them exactly what they were getting for for what shipping. Shipping to Canada right now is about $25. So, just depends on what's in the box, but,
I
you
just
know
stopped doing I just
well,
stopped doing it.
that's why I don't have it just as a flat, tier where it's like, I'll ship to here and here, but I
Yeah.
always tell people, like, "If you're a Canadian backer and you want something specific, tell me what you want, I'll weigh it, and I have a tiered with your name on it, a 1 of 1." So, that's what I do for Dawn too. It says, "Just for Dawn," and in the description it says, "If you're not Dawn, hands off," or something like that, but
Oh, okay. I think Dawn just wants a special tier so she feels special.
Dawn is special. A whole new take on Final Destination and Saw movies.
Right. I think
You
she's
know,
talking about that video that you did where you got ran
run
over.
over by a car. There is that kind of dark potential in the world of Path of the Pale Rider, because if your body can be taken apart, but you're still alive. Not really alive, you're undead, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can raise some questions, like, can your limbs move independently if they're not attached to you? Well, yes. But
Oh
it's also
wow.
like, with animals, it causes a problem because you can slaughter a cow, but you can't good luck butchering it, it's still moving, it's a cow. And then even if you could, Grant, would you eat a hamburger that still moved?
Yeah, that's kind of disturbing. So,
That's what I'm saying. So there's that whole side of this story where if you think about it long enough, it's like, that's kinda gross. But,
well, I have so many questions, but I guess it's fortunate that I backed the
well,
comic
I would
book.
love to hear your questions. That's the fun part about it because I like to hear how people, perceive it or what they're thinking about.
Well, yeah, I'll have to have you back on the show after I've read, right?
Says, "Oh
So
my
Sarah is saying
god."
that she saw you when you were playing Karen, and she didn't realize it was you at first, and she thought that you were seriously like that.
Ah!
That's funny.
It's a
She said, "I had
weird
no clue the background of Karen's character."
Alright, okay. So, there's a creator named Christopher Brown, and he writes this series called Slaughterville, and it's a novel, comic, tabletop, and RPG games. Like he is in all these different ways you can interact with Slaughterville, and it's basically this town where all these horror movies exist. So if you go to the lake, you could encounter. It's he can't use the names, but it's like a Jason character. So in his world, it's a woman called the Slasher, and she's supernatural and she goes around with an axe and she axes you to pieces. But you can see werewolves, vampires, ghosts, aliens, whatever, right? And so I was playing an RPG game of Slaughterville, and I mean, I created Karen Needlemeyer as my character. Um, I just had come off playing a round of D&D, I think it was Tomb of Annihilation, and I realized the more quirky my characters are, the more fun we have during campaign,
Right.
right? So I was playing a pirate cleric whose name was Luz Butcher, and she was called Luz Butcher because she would butcher everybody's name. And so she created all these like weird nicknames for people, and that was part of her shtick, right? So I was like, well, I'm going to make it more interesting, and I'm going to create a Karen character, and it was so funny. It was so fucking funny. She was kicking people through doors and her weapon was a cattle prod. She was just like just there was some NPC that showed up and she like shocked the shit out of him and like kicked him down the stairs. We lit that place on fire and barely got out with our lives because we just rolled really good, but I like Karen's fat ass got stuck in the window and they had to push me out of the it was just hilarious. So
I
that's
feel like those are the best Dungeons& and
Aren't
Dragons
they?
games.
Where you're just this weirdo, goofball character, and you get to just act out, right? It makes for entertaining D&D.
So Don is asking if the 4th is your birthday.
It's actually March 5th, but yes, it
Oh.
is the Tuesday brew that you're on is the day before my birthday. I will be
Are
29.
are you ready for something shocking?
What?
I think the 4th is my cat's birthday.
Oh, so their
So you
cat is born the day before me. That's excellent. So I would like to be younger than your cat. It's not true, but that's okay.
yeah, March 4th is Yoshi's Gotcha Day.
Oh,
Like,
Yoshi.
maybe Yoshi will come over and visit us. She's a real
Yeah.
sweetheart. Yeah, so
Yes.
Sarah was asking for the story that you just gave,
Yep.
and so Sarah's saying
Exactly, exactly. It's a character, it's a persona.
they call that kayfabe.
It's funny though because I've been, on the show as Karen, saying Karen things. Karen loves werewolves. Werewolves. I mean, like, I don't have any werewolves in my I don't particularly like or dislike werewolves, but Karen loves werewolves. And I had an artist show up in my DMs like, "Hey, if you're looking for werewolf art, I can help you." And I was just like, "Were you watching did I have a blonde wig on?" And he was like, "Yeah, why were you wearing that?" I was like, "Oh, you're watching the wrong show." I'm like, "That's not real."
Oh,
I have to be
that's sad.
careful.
He thought he had a sale.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey." I was like, sorry, that was fictional."
So Dale's saying that you got a new
Yay,
subscriber.
thank you.
So apparently Carl knows Chad as well, and he says that if you took him on, that makes you a hero.
That is a great episode. You have to go watch it. It's so funny to see drunk Karen.
And Sarah's saying that's the path.
Yeah, man.
Oh, so Sarah's talking about when you asked me if like you would eat a cheeseburger if it moved.
Yeah.
And
It's a rough question because if you're starving,
well, and that's the other question. Like, once you eat it, is it going to be like moving in your stomach? Ugh,
moves the whole way, even on the way out.
ugh.
Yeah. It Carissa's birthday is on Wednesday this week. So her birthday is this week. My birthday's next week. Dawn. I don't know. And
Okay.
when's your birthday, Dawn? Isn't it right around now too?
Yeah, that's what
It
she's saying.
was.
She says you were born the day before me,
Oh, she's the 6th. I'm
and
the 5th.
Carissa
And
is born a
Carissa
few
is
days later.
the 26th of February, I think. Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah.
So,
So the thing, the big question I've been meaning to ask you is, so how did you get into this crazy world of independent comic books? I know you said that you wrote a screenplay,
yeah.
but
Yeah. That was basically where I got bit with the writing bug. I wasn't reading comics until I was probably in college, and it wasn't, um I was never into superheroes. I was never into, Wonder Woman as a kid. I was reading Who Watches the Watchmen, and, like, Image was already a thing, so I was reading Robert Kirkman. I read The Walking Dead. I read all of Invincible, Black Science, East of West. Like, that's kinda where I was into comics,
were you into
with it.
Sandman?
I've never read The Sandman. Mm-mm. And now I will never read it. It
Well,
was
yeah.
on my list. It is no longer on my list, darn.
I was just asking because I remember back in the '90s, whenever you met like a woman who liked comic books, it was always Sandman.
Yeah, man. That's
Yeah,
interesting. I wonder what it was about that series that was appealing. But
I don't. I'm not sure either.
yeah,
I guess just the fact that it was one of the few completely non superhero comic books that was coming out at that time.
maybe. That could be. But I
I
mean,
mean,
mm,
I was gonna say if I'd been smart, I would have read Sandman, and then I would have had something to like flirt with these girls about. But I wasn't. I was never that good at.
great. That would have
I
given
was
you
never
an in.
that
Oh yeah, I read that.
good. Yeah,
So
I don't know. I was
anyway,
never that
I'm
good.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was never that good with girls, so I didn't figure that out.
It's all right. I was the nerd girl. I was the token. I was the one playing magic cards in high school with the
Okay,
dude.
so you were kind of nerdy, but you just comic books kind of eluded
It
you.
just wasn't, yeah, it wasn't really our thing. Um, So I wrote this. I got bit with the writing bug working for the production company. I was writing short form web content for them. I wrote this action series called The Agency, which is heavy martial arts. Of course, we're choreographing martial arts, spy versus spy, traitors, and then it turns into something way different. And then I decided I really liked writing. And that short form web content was great because really that's easy to turn into issues of comics. But I was like, I have this idea of what would happen if death broke. And I developed that into a full length movie script. I had never done that before. And I was reading a lot of scripts and watching the movie and reading the script at the same time, comparing it like how much of this actually made it into the live action and how did they describe it so they could film it that way. Wrote this amazing script and had no idea what to do with it. I was like, okay, now what?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's one of the great things about comic books is that, you don't. I mean, I know a lot of people complain about how expensive it is to produce comic books, but compared to a movie
Right.
or a TV show,
Even
like,
short films, right? There's
right. And I mean, I know
thousands.
making comic books is hard, but man, compared to like trying to organize like a big group of actors, oh my God.
Trying to find a location that you can film in. At what time do you need to film there? Waiting for the weather to clear because it's raining and it's an outdoor scene, right? And it's like, is the lighting okay? We need an extension cord so we can plug this sucker in. We're in a stairwell. Oh my God. I lost I lost props down a stairwell once. Like it's just, there's all the headaches that go with production. And with this full length movie, it was such a Path of the Pale Rider, such a big idea where I was like, this is millions of dollars to shoot this. So my production company, we were not able to do it, and they were like, pitch it to Netflix. But again, how do you do that? It's like you need a literary agent that can work with Netflix, and they don't have like a directory of them. If they do take you, they deal with Netflix, but Netflix is going to look at you and say, "Hey, what are you bringing to the table?
Right.
Do you
Well,
have
and
an audience?"
I don't know if you ever saw the movie 30 Days of Night,
Yes.
but that guy, the guy who wrote that, pitched that as a movie, failed,
Failed.
and then made it as a comic book.
Yep.
And the comic book was such a hit that then there was a bidding war between movie studios to turn that into a movie.
Yep.
So that's the thing. I mean, uh, yeah, I mean to me, I mean that's what I love about comic books.
Yes.
It's one of the few art forms that a guy can just go out and be like, I'm going to make a comic book.
Right. And that's kind of what happened. So I was looking at Netflix, had multiple people in the business tell me like that was the path I needed to go, and I was like, "Well, what if they pay me for it and then they shelve it?" Because they can do that too, and then I can't write it anymore. I'm like, "Wouldn't it be better to do something, build your audience, get your story out there, get you know what I mean? So then people are attached to your characters. So if they go in and rewrite it, they're mad. Don't you want that?" And my husband was like, "You know what, Laurie? This is a comic book." He's like, and he was familiar with Kickstarter. He had backed several things. I had never backed a Kickstarter in my life. And this was like 2020. So I wrote it in 2018. 2020, it was complete, and I was trying to figure out what to do. And he was like, find an artist and make some sample pages, run it through Kickstarter. I did a lot of research. Started turning into a comic book in January of 2020. And then March 2020, the pandemic started and everything crashed and burned. Um, we were cursed. Both my artists that I had involved were cursed. Like one got COVID, the other one, the ceiling fell through on his apartment. And then they fixed that. And then he got COVID. And the other guy, a tree fell on his house. And then the first one, there was a shooting in his apartment. It was just like back and forth, like major crises. And I was just like, we're gonna stop. I was like, we're gonna not continue until things calm down. And
So you took a little break.
yeah, we took a break, but I mean, it was at that point I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, I don't know if I should, if it's going to be this debacle. And I had spent like hundreds of dollars and it just crashed and burned. Um, So I was patient all of 2021. I was listening and I was like, if I find the right artist, then we'll move forward. But if I don't find someone that I think is the right artist, then I'm just going to wait. And if it doesn't happen, I'll figure it out. I met Marco DeFeo in January of 2022. Loved his art style. He had already been working on apocalyptic fiction with a Hawaiian-based apocalypse story called Mauka. I talked to him. He was interested. He did a sketch, like the bio sketches. What do you call it? Character sheet
Yeah.
of my character Jude St. Clair, and I was like, this is my character. This is what he looks like in my head, and so off we went. We kickstarted March of 2022. I kickstarted for way too much money, but we still somehow made our goal. And we've been turning out books every 6 months pretty much. So we did issues 1 through 4. We did a trade paperback. Marco got too busy. His schedule really filled up. He's a working artist. It's all he does. And so unfortunately, Marco had to step away. But he and I are still friends. He still does variant covers for us. You're still going to see him around. And Gilbert Perez picked up the story. So with issue 5. So 5, 6, 7, 8, when we'll do another trade. And Gilbert's in for the long haul. And you'll see what I mean when you see some of the art that he is producing. He loves this. He loves this story. I've let him read as far into the story as I've written, and he's hooked. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's like a true collaboration. Like
Mhm.
you're like you explain to him, but then he kind of uh, figures it out from there. Like you don't over direct him.
No. And in fact, sometimes, well, how do I say sometimes? Issue 5 was the very first time we had a change in the script. And so people ask me all the time, like, hey, did you change the script because of COVID? No, I wrote this before COVID. Hey, did you ever change the script because Marco had, input? And I was like, no. I was like, we never did. We just never did. He just stuck to the script. Issue 5, I wrote a scene and it was pretty devastating. And Gilbert put a puppy in it. And
You
he
put a puppy in
regrets.
it.
He put a puppy in one of the most devastating scenes that I have ever written. And I made him shoot that puppy.
Oh,
Like, why
geez.
did you put a puppy? And he was so upset when he
All
had to
right,
shoot the
that's
puppy.
it. I'm
But again, it's
canceling
Path
my
of the Pale
I'm
Rider people.
canceling my
So
pledge. No, I'm just
no,
joking.
no, because here's the thing. It's great because now he's a forever puppy. I put the puppy in the fan group, Path of the Pale Rider on Facebook. They named the puppy Sad Pancake. Sad Pancake is now a part of the story. So again, because of Gilbert, you get Sad Pancake in issue number 6. And there is a variant cover for Sad Pancake on this campaign. So that's what I mean. Like when someone understands your story and they start doing things that maybe you didn't intend, but you get this fabulous result from it. So we have now Forever Puppy. He's green.
Exactly.
Skip and scroll. Did you see him on the page? Will you
I
show?
haven't yet.
I was like, will you show the people listening what Sad Pancake looks like? There'll be Sad Pancake merch. I already have some. People are
Oh,
asking.
really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have a giant undead bear named Big James, who is our unofficial mascot. Everybody loves him. So we have a ton of Big James merch. And now we have Sad Pancake. I feel like we're going to have a ton of Sad Pancake merch too.
That sounds cute.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to run through some of these comments quickly because I still have
Sure.
more questions for you, and we're almost at our
Okay, I'll
time.
stop talking.
No, that's all right. Sarah's saying, it's funny if out of context, this comment is very
Sarah, I'll
ridiculous.
have to tell you about the story I was is using sphincters as hair ties in my world and what that would be like. It's a long story. We're not going to get into it, but it's a funny story. We'll have to tell it later.
Yeah, tell her after the show. Sarah's talking about Ripperville from Dark Horse. I haven't read it. I'm assuming that when she says it's coming out in 2188, I'm assuming that's a
Oh my gosh.
typo. I don't know. And she's saying that she
Yeah.
got a read for Carissa and that she's great.
Mhm.
Don agrees with her. Sarah says, we're going through my beta reading today, together in real time, spontaneously. Yeah, Sarah
Very
beta
cool.
read Beowulf as well.
Cool.
And Dale is saying, Laurie, you never know through the life what can help form you, like the web deal. I think he's talking about like you went from thinking that this project was going to be a movie to be
Right.
a comic book.
Yeah, exactly. You never know where life has taken you. Ripperland comment.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
Sarah. I mean, I think the comment was still interesting. Um,
Yes, that's me. Woo!
you
Well, we
smash
still got it.
melons in a Pokemon suit.
Okay, yeah. One of our stretch goals for every campaign, and we haven't gotten there quite yet, guys. So you got to help me because we got to get to 6,000, and then we break the slice and dice stretch goal. So slice and dice is where I dress up in as Pokemon, and I go on the Tuesday morning brew, and we smash fruit or vegetables. But the cool part is the part of the Kickstarter is it's interactive, so you guys get to name the fruit or vegetable, and you get to vote on what weapon I use. So I will put some options and you can write in your own suggestions. There's a big old survey, and then there's the Facebook group. I let everybody vote. So I've used sledgehammers, swords. Last sledgehammer won twice. I lit stuff on fire and then smashed it. And then last campaign, we did a two-handed axe. And not only did I kill the jackfruit, I killed the stool that it was on too.
Nice.
It's in pieces. So
Carl
we're
is
almost
saying,
there. We got to break that one for sure. I'll be really sad if we don't get to do the slice and dice, but I'm pushing for the ones after that, which is the scratch and sniff stickers, which, yes, we have a zombie scented scratch and sniff sticker. Thank you for asking. Don't you want to know what that smells like?
Carl was saying, don't ask why I was watching such things though. That's a
Why? It's
very
hilarious.
specific Google search, right? Like
It's
if you're searching
hilarious.
women wearing Pokemon outfits smashing fruit. That's I mean, what's the rule if something exists? There's a fetish
A
for
fetish.
that thing.
I'm sure it was on Facebook or wherever because we were sharing it. I'm sure Don shared it. Those are funny too.
Sarah's saying my link of sphincters, laughing my fucking ass. Oh, okay. So Ripperville is a story of Jack the Ripper in the year 2188. Oh, okay, cool. So I
You
didn't know
really
what
just
that was the
identified
premise
him?
of the comic
Sphincters
book.
are always funny.
Yeah. So
Whoa.
so if uh so you said that this is a 12-part story. Do you have any plans for what you're doing after this, or are you going to do any stories concurrently with it?
Yes. So, the first arc is 12. So we're gonna compare this to like an Netflix series because that's what it, was intended to be. So if it was a Netflix series, there's 3 seasons of 12 issues of 12 episodes each. I have written most of the second arc. I think I'm up to 21. But the ending is there. I just have to clean it up. Like it's outlined. And then I have the beginning and the end of the third arc. And then I have to figure out the middle, right? But there is an ending, which I think is important because my characters are actually moving towards that ending that I'm planning out forever. I'll be 97 years old and visiting Comic Cons trying to Kickstarter my way through the next issue. It'll be great.
I always
97-year-old granny.
I always think that I have a notebook full of comic book ideas, and I
Yeah.
always think like I'm gonna be 90 by the time I
Yeah.
I get to like any at the rate that I'm going because I have 100
Mhm.
ideas, and I can only do like one or two every 3 or 4 years. So
I have been doing some anthologies. I think most of them will be out this year. So I've been writing Psycho Sal since issue 4. That's William Russell's creator series. It's his idea, but he just wanted someone like myself to flesh it out, to haha, pun intended, because it's a slasher um comic. But it's an 80s slasher in New Orleans. The serial killer, they're hunting him, And then like every 3 issues, the perspective changes. So you get like the FBI agents, and then you get a female victim, and then you get like more from the actual serial killer himself. And so that one's going to be wrapping up this year. But I've written 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 8 will be out on Kickstarter, I think, by the end of this month or early next month. Great series. We finally got a mature rating with number 7. I said, hold my beer, and I jumped over that line gleefully. I did a anthology for Big Dog Inc., where I wrote a 10-page story based on his series, The Legend of Oz, which is a retelling of The Wizard of Oz as a Western. Fabulous. It's a fabulous series. I think he's going to be doing an omnibus in 2025, but that Big Dog Inc. anthology is out. I just got my box last week. So that's out.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. I did one for Travis Gibbs, this Cthulhu Invades Fairyland.
Right.
I did a 14-page one in that. So that's a retelling of like grim fairy tales as Lovecraftian horror. Amazing.
Right.
I got Beauty and the Beast, which was really good. I'm very proud of that one. And then what else? I wrote, this one is so cool. Okay. Path of the Pale Rider, kind of like horror Western, right? Big Dog Inc. Western, Psycho Cell horror, Cthulhu horror. And there's a creator out here in Texas. His name is Terry Parr, and he does the interiors for Tomorrowland for Antarctic Press, but he has his own series called Gemini Force. And it's these 2 cloned 80s rocker girls in space.
Sounds
And
fun.
it's amazing. Like, it was way outside it. Like, you know how you kind of get typecast as a writer? Oh, you write horror. You want to write more horror. And I was like,
Right.
sure. But then Terry was like, would you ever write Gemini Force? And I was like, why the F not? Like, let's do it. Like, what are you looking for? And I had an absolute blast. It's like Saturday morning cartoons, but they don't wear a lot of clothes. They're clothed. They're clothed, but like they wear bikinis and stuff. It's just, they're rock and roll. They get into hijinks and then they get out of it in 10 pages. So there's like 2 shorts and 1 book. Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. Like,
What?
do I try to like
Go outside of your
stay to
genre?
one genre?
Yeah.
It's frustrating because, like I said, I have so many ideas I'd like to make into comic books.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But even that series, The Agency, that I was writing would be great as a comic. So it's one of those like I want to push my creativity. I want to try all the genres and see how I do. I probably don't want to write romance. I didn't really think that way. So I don't think I'd be good at it, but just about anything else I'd like to try. So I got
Yeah,
more
I don't know
scripts
if that's. I mean, I think it's more fun, but I don't know if it's good for um, career wise.
to do too many genres or
I mean, I'm just saying I do Beowulf, which is kind of modern fantasy, and then I also do a horror comic book called Memoirs of the Morbid. And I'm saying the people who read both are very few and far between.
Mhm. That's interesting too. We were talking about this where it's like if you start a new series in a different genre, that's exactly it. Like your readers sometimes won't come. You have to start over with your audience. I found that was the case with Psycho Sal even, where I was like, I'm writing this thing, and it wasn't until we're on like issue 7 that my fandom was like, "Oh, we should
Right.
read this thing," even though I've been talking about it since we, did issue 4. So it takes time. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So as we were sitting here talking, I realized I never posted the links.
Oh, here's the link. Please
So
go
here's the links.
check it
Sorry about
out.
that. I hope nobody left the show early before I posted the links. But here's Path of the Pale Rider. And I also posted the link to my Kickstarter. So
Yay.
please check them out, guys. Don is saying, "Have a great night, all. Got to switch
We left
locations."
her.
Can't wait
She
for it.
knows. She knows where I am, and she usually has a special tier, so she's got to talk to me anyway.
It would certainly let you know what you
Yeah.
can combine with doing various genres. They can merge somehow in so many. I think
This
you're
is
right. And
true.
everybody's saying good night. I think we're gonna call the
Yeah,
show
we're
because
at
I try to
an
keep it
hour.
about an hour.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being on the show, Laura.
Yes.
Laurie, do you want to? Obviously, the important thing is check out the Kickstarter, but do you want to mention like Twitter? I don't know if you're still on Twitter, Instagram,
I'm on all
Facebook,
the things.
whatever.
I'm on all
I'm
the
sorry.
things. I said I'm on
Okay.
all the things. I'm on Facebook. There's a Facebook group. That's a ton of fun. I do polls in there. They get the first kind of reveals. Usually that's the group where I'm like, hey, I just added this exclusive add-on to the Kickstarter. They get the first notification so they can grab it if they want to. So that's the fun group. But if you're not on Facebook, I am on Instagram, just at Laurie Calcaterra. I'm on TikTok. You can watch me rebind books on there. That's a ton of fun, and I love doing that. I got about 5 books over here right off camera that I'm rebinding.
Oh,
And that's
cool.
what, yeah. Look, so I take the covers off. This one, I had one on the campaign. So I do some unique items that I make. So this one is in the press right now. It's Jurassic Park. I added on some paper, so it's in the press, and I'm gonna try and foil the edges this time. I usually paint the edges, but I'm gonna try and foil. This is claimed, sorry, but I am gonna have one of these on the campaign going forward, just one. But you can watch me do those on TikTok. Where else? I'm on Threads, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on X. I got that YouTube channel. It's just at Laurie Calcaterra 360. Um, and again, if I'm not running a Kickstarter, you can always go to my webpage. It's www.pathofthepalewriter.com. If you are international, please check out NE, like the 2 letters and the number 1. Any One World is where you can get my trade paperback shipped to you internationally. So there's that. Yeah,
You
and
said
please come.
NE1. Okay.
Correct. The letter N, the letter E, and the number 1. It's obviously a play on words like Any One World. They're a international publisher and distributor. So anyone could be a part if you submit. It's not an automatic yes, but they say yes to a lot of independent creators to distribute their books there. I am actually published my trade paperback. I don't know if they publish floppies, but they do publish trades, and they do digital download, and you can do merch. Like, there's a lot of opportunities there. Please come
That's
watch me
awesome.
on the Tuesday morning brew. Grant will be on next week,
Yeah.
and we're going to
Especially
continue this
watch that on
conversation.
Tuesday.
Yeah, on Tuesday, not on Wednesday, on Tuesday. And we're going to continue this conversation next week because Grant's asking me questions. I got questions for him too. So
Cool.
there's that.
I look forward to that. Um, I'm gonna check out the website that you were saying.
Any One
Um,
World, you should. There's I do a show for them too. So on Wednesdays,
oh,
I
you're busy.
usually I post well, I'm on Carissa Grant's non-show on Mondays every week, and then the Tuesday morning brew on Tuesday, any One World Showcase on Wednesday. Thursdays, I'm usually every other week I'm recording Killer Karen, and then I have to edit it and publish it for the following Friday, and that's my normal week, right? And then when I'm live on Kickstarter, I have done an additional 30, I want to say 34 podcasts between
Wow.
February 1st and 28th, and then I took 2 days to go to a Comic-Con. I keep busy.
Yeah,
So,
I'll say.
yeah.
Makes sense now why you're tired, right?
I'm, sleep when I'm dead. It's good.
Exactly.
Next week, I will not be live, so it'll be much better. I could just focus on you.
Yeah. So everybody's saying good night,
Thank you.
and Dale is saying thank you for letting me join. So Dale did
Absolutely.
say stick with what is working, which sounds like he's kind of disagreeing with us about switching
Yeah,
from
the
genre to
multiple.
genre.
I
So
don't
I don't know.
know.
I don't have a
I've
good
seen
answer.
people do like, John Westhoff?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has 5 different titles, and they're all different, and he just rotates through 'em. Matt Knowles does the same thing. Travis Gibbs, Tom Hutchinson, but those people they've been doing it longer than I have. You know what I mean? I'm only on this was my 3rd year. So anybody that runs through multiple properties throughout the year, I have great respect for, because I just have enough time for this one.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't
All
know.
right. Well,
We'll
thank you
see.
for being on the show, Laurie.
Yeah,
And
thanks for having me.
I will see
Next
you on
week.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to have you on. Thank you again for having me on. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, and thank you everybody who watched. Have a good night.